Tua's concussions at the tail end of last season, how much of a concern is that coming into this year?
A massive concern. I remember watching him against the Bengals last year, and I saw the play. So he dropped back deep in the pocket and he threw the ball, and he threw it, and it was such a weird thing because he let the ball go. And something that happens often in the NFL with quarterbacks is the ball comes out of their hand and their hand keeps moving forward and their fingers are exposed because they're after releasing the ball. And often they'll hit a helmet of a defender or they'll hit an outstretched arm of a defender and it'll destroy their fingers because it's like, again, going back to a hurling analogy, it's like the midfielder catching the ball and the hurley goes across his fingers. You ever see a hurler's fingers, they're all out of place, they're all massive because they're taking that beating. Quarterback's fingers are similar way. And last year, you saw that happen with Tua, but it was actually a hit where he got concussed. And the finger movement was his body, like the reaction of his body going basically black out or whatever it was. And then when he got up, he was very clearly woozy and out of it. And he had another concussion just a week before that or 2 weeks after that. I can't remember the order specifically, but it was terrifying. It was very, very scary to the point that they were talking about him retiring. So he stayed out for, I think it was a month. During that time, the team struggled and then ended up finishing 8-8. They probably had higher hopes than that, but without the quarterback, he kind of disrupted their season. But he stayed out for a month or so. He came back, he played again. He was a little bit more timid. He wasn't exactly the same guy he was beforehand, but he was still an effective quarterback. So he spent this off-season now learning how to fall, which sounds ridiculous, but it's probably an important thing. I think he was doing as a judo or Muay Thai, whichever one of those is about falling in the right way. And now you see him in the preseason. Whenever he falls, he's turning and twisting his body and twisting his hips and making sure his head is not coming into contact with the ground. I wonder, though, doing that in preseason is one thing. I already talked about how preseason is like slower and not as intense. Doing that in the regular season, is that going to impact how you play? Because you have to be able to stand in there and take those hits and stand up to them. If you're thinking about how am I going to fall here, that's going to surely impact how you throw the ball. But it's definitely one to watch. And for a lot of people, the Dolphins with Tua are Super Bowl contenders. Without him, they're obviously not. So his health will be a big storyline throughout this year.